Welcome to I'll Be There, the ultimate wedding podcast by Priya
and Nim
from Pristine Events. Whether you're a bride-to-be
or a groom gearing up
or just a wedding lover at heart, we've got you.
Welcome back to another episode of I'll Be There by Pristine Events. I'm Nim.
I'm Priya.
And today Priya, is going to be talking about decor.
Yay! So, decor is probably one of my favourite things to think about, talk about, mood board. I just feel like the options are endless, but I think it's something that our couples don't really know where to start and how to go about it. So hopefully in this episode we can cover a few key pointers when it comes to it.
Yeah, and I'm going to ask you questions, and I'm going to play the role as somebody who had no say in their wedding decor.
Okay.
And who has no say in our couple's wedding decor. I'm going to play that role.
Okay.
So if I'm really convincing, it's because I'm playing the role really well.
Because you're a really good actor.
Yes.
Drama GCSE.
Yes, exactly.
It's okay. I mean, it's fine. Like, all of our couples have different things in terms of, like, what their forte is. Like, You're great at alcohol, catering, logistics. I'm better at the creative stuff. / I didn't really want your opinions anyway.
Yeah, that's why we make such a good team, Chris.
It's true. It's very true. Okay, let's start. Where should we start? Which one ask me?
So, I mean, let's assume that you've picked your venue. Would you have picked your outfits already before you start picking the decor? I know that I've overheard you saying to couples that you need to know what you're wearing before you pick the decor. Is that always the case?
I would say if you can, I think it's good to have an idea of what you're wearing first.
Yeah.
Not so much for a civil wedding, because typically most people, if they're doing a civil, will wear white. So you kind of know, even if you haven't got the dress, you know that you're wearing white. Yeah. And in that case, you know that for the most part, any colour scheme that you go with is going to work with it, right? However, for an Indian wedding, because your outfits can literally be a massive variety of colours, I personally think it's better to have an idea of what you're wearing and ideally pick your outfit before you finalise colour choices. That doesn't mean that you can't start any decor planning until you found your outfit, because I appreciate it can take months to find your outfit. But even if you have figured out the vibe that you like, the kind of florals, but then you can finalise colours and palettes once you've done your outfit, because you don't want something that's going to completely clash with your outfit. And everything has to complement each other and all tie together nicely. It shouldn't feel like in chunks, that your outfit's one vibe, your decor's one vibe, your stationery's another vibe. It shouldn't feel mismatched in that kind of way.
That would be terrible. Okay, fine. So, let's assume that you've picked your outfit.
Yeah.
Then what do you do? So, do you approach decor companies first? Mm-hmm. Do you start Pinteresting and mood boarding first? Do you do that with the decor company?
So I think it kind of varies. I think, to be honest, the way that I approach our full planning or partial planning couples is I ask them to basically make a mood board alongside ourselves or the team. And our mood boards have different sections. So there's a section for the mandaps or the main altar area where the wedding's going to happen. There's a section for aisle decor. There is a section for things like chairs and I know that sounds really minor, but actually even the style of chairs that you have can completely elevate and differentiate your wedding. So then there's a different section for stationery. Then for the reception, there's a section for, again, tables and chairs, for the sweetheart table if you're having one, for the dance floor area, and then for any additional cute bits. So for example, big 3D seating plans are really in at the moment, so things like that. So everything's in sections. So as and when they see things that they like on Instagram or on Pinterest, I basically make sure that they input it in there. Once that's finished, obviously it doesn't have to be a final version, but once I've got a good understanding of their vibe, are they going more boho? Are they going more regal? Are they going more contemporary? We would then reach out to decor companies and just say...
because you now know the styles and then you can match that with companies, you can deliver that style?
Yeah, that. And also even companies that are quite good at doing a bit of everything, I think you need to go to them with a sort of idea.
Yeah.
And obviously that doesn't mean that it's final. Things change a lot from your first mood board to what actually ends up being your wedding. Sometimes it isn't, it's not exactly the same at all. But actually it's just good to go with a starting idea. And it also is good for the decor company to give you a really rough starting price or just open up a conversation to then discuss with the couple in more detail. Ultimately, we don't do decor or design, but we can definitely assist in, like you said, matching the right company with the right couples, depending on their vision, their vibe and their budget as well, which is a really important factor.
That reminds me of, for our wedding, when our decor company asked us to fill in that spreadsheet.
Oh, your
of
Google
like the
form.
different things that we like about weddings and what we want in our styling, and I just didn't have anything to write. So I just wrote, can you just tell Priya that my ideas were better than hers? And then afterwards they went and told you that my ideas were really
Yeah,
good.
and I was so paranoid because I was like, I wrote so much. I like poured my heart out about all the personalization I wanted, the different vibes, all the different elements. And so when she was like, oh, yeah, Priya, yours was good, but Nim, yours was amazing. I was like, and then she was like, oh, don't worry, I can only share your ideas after the wedding. And I was thinking, what has he put in this Google form?
Honestly, it was so bad. She was like, what's your favourite film? And I was just like, I don't know, The Avengers? And I was like, how are you going to incorporate that in the wedding?
Can you imagine if I turned up at our Mendy and there was an Avengers theme? I would literally have died.
I have seen Harry Potter themes.
Yeah,
which is actually, I think, quite cool.
Yeah.
Cool in the sense of not the fact that it's Harry Potter, but that sort of whimsical, magical feeling, which I think is quite cool. And then putting like table names as Harry Potter characters and things.
Especially if it matches the venue. Like if you were having it in like an
like
old school hall or a castle or something like that. Like you couldn't necessarily do that in like a...
Yeah, but you couldn't because you're a muggle.
For God's sake. Okay, let's carry on. So what did you want to ask me next? So you made the mood board.
Yeah.
So with making the mood board, like I said, I would, if you're doing it yourself, I would just use Canva. It has loads of amazing mood board templates. I would put everything into sections like I've mentioned already in terms of stationery, mandap, chairs, tables, all of that stuff. And then I would look on Pinterest, I would look on Instagram, I would look just generally on Google, and even like annoyingly, reels aren't the easiest thing to, you know, add to your mood board. Just take screenshots of the thing in the reel that you liked, and again, just add it in because that's really helpful as well.
What about the TikTok?
I actually don't use TikTok, but
the kids are all using the TikTok.
The kids are all using TikTok. So yeah, same with TikTok, just screenshot. And actually, like you said, a lot of the, oh my God, I sound so old, younger generation, basically use TikTok more than Instagram. So I'm sure there's so much wedding inspiration on there. So definitely just screenshot and just add it in so that you can build your look out. And it's really important because actually sometimes the things that you think you like, you don't end up liking. So I think you need to just see a lot and then see what you keep like gravitating towards.
Yeah.
So I think...
So then, okay, fine. So then you've matched them with their decor company. And then presumably the choice of which decor company they pick is then down to, I guess, partly the relationship that they have with the decor people. If they're responsive and they like them, they seem to get their vibe, and I assume you go with them. Is the other thing just cost? Or can you tell the difference in the quality between different decor companies? I guess one thing that I'm vaguely aware of is that you can use florals which are real, or you can use the fake ones. Is there a right or wrong way to do things? And is there a difference in quality between good florals and bad florals if they're fake?
There's no right or wrong way to do things. I think a lot of weddings can sometimes have the fake florals, and as long as they're good quality fake florals, then they can look amazing and they help to add that extra volume but without a ridiculous price point. And some companies will do the bulk in fake and then we'll top it up, like the you know, the most superficial layer will top it up with real floral, so you still get that fresh flower smell and feel, but actually everything underneath and, you know, around the sides is fake. So that's quite a good compromise to have. I mean, hopefully at some point we'll have like a florist or like a stylist to come on and talk about this in more detail, but every time we've got real floral quotes for anything big, they are really expensive. And obviously if it's within your budget, then amazing, but it's quite difficult, I think, if you're trying to stay within budget but you want to have big arches or big backdrops or big hanging installments. To do that in real florals, it is just gonna shoot up your overall costs basically.
So and I know that for a lot of decor companies, they try to reuse things, right? If you're having all your events in one day, and if you have the wedding in the morning and the reception in the evening, they'll try and use certain parts of the aisle for the table pieces.
Centerpieces,
That's the word I was looking for. Centerpieces. Do they all do that?
The majority, and I think another reason they do that is A, cost effectiveness, but also B, like, you're carrying the theme through. So for example, if you had like a blue theme and all your stationery has been like got accents of blue hues or whatever in it, then obviously you need to carry that through for the evening, because if your stationery is still going to be blue for the evening, you want the decor to obviously, you want it to all align. Initially, a lot of couples come to us and they say they want a different theme for the morning and a different theme for the evening, or a different theme for the wedding and a different theme for the reception. But actually what they work out quite quickly is that it almost, you know, adds a lot to the budget, because people just think, oh well, they're there anyway, it's just, but actually it's a whole different set. And also you're taking the morning set down and then setting up a whole different new set of decor for the evening, so it's just extra work, extra prep, extra items, so obviously it's going to cost more. And that's why a lot of couples just end up having the same. And like you said, to be cost effective, not only can you use fake florals, but you can reuse the items. A lot of the times the arch for the ceremony, if you, for example, even with our civil for
that became our backdrop for our sweetheart table, right?
Yeah, exactly.
See that?
Yeah, I'm really impressed you
Good
know
one.
that. I was going to quiz you on what colour our table linens were, but I feel like you
It's white ish.
cream.
Yeah, see?
That was a good guess.
Thank you.
So like you can reuse that, and then like you said, that stuff down the aisle will become the centerpieces. Candles from along the aisle or along the ceremony room can then move on to like the guest book table or the card box or around the bar. So I think that is a really good way to be cost effective as well. I think also a really big key point that I think a lot of couples won't think of initially is you have to think about the venue that you're getting married, and I guess decorate it or style it accordingly. Like if, for example, you've got a manor house and it's a really traditional manor house and the room you're getting married in has got like really massive dark velvet red drapes and all of these big statement colours, I just feel like if you were to go in there and then
Pastels and things won't work.
Yeah, or I think if you went in there with like a purple or like a blue, like I just think you're not going to be able to cover the drapes fully, especially if they're massive high ceilings and stuff.
Yeah.
So I think you've just got to think about the room that you're getting married in and work with it and try and not draw attention to the fact that there's colour clashes and stuff, which I think can become quite obvious.
Yeah.
And that's why working with a good decor team, they can hopefully help to advise you with what works for your room and the kind of vibe you're going from. And actually, when you're making your mood board, another thing I didn't mention is I guess you'll quite quickly start to realise, are you more of like rustic boho vibes with the pampas and the like beiges, or are you more like regal and a bit more traditional? Are you more modern, like the chic? Like a lot of last year there was a lot of like either all white or monochrome. Like I love the little black touches and stuff. So you can start to figure out what kind of decor you like, and then just make sure it fits in with your theme, with your room. Sorry.
But is decor just like candles and flowers? Like what else is there? Like what else can they provide?
Depends on the company. So a lot of the bigger decor companies will be able to provide like what you just said, but they can also provide things like actual styling. So like the tablecloths, the linens, napkins, charger plates, like all of these little details that can again elevate how everything looks. Like you can tell when you go in, when you walk into a room and it's got coloured linens, like that's when you know there's been like extra attention to detail. A lot of the time people don't do that. They just go with the general catering linens because it's obviously cheaper. But if you've got the budget, depending on your colour scheme, but having like table linen napkins to match, I think just is an additional wow factor. Other big companies can also do the production side of things. So again, depending on what exactly you want, but they can construct 3D backgrounds, structures, seating plans, like, the ones where you take a shot, take a seat, or grab a glass of champagne and on the champagne glass it tells you what table number you're on, like all of these like bigger things to construct. Even like big installations in terms of like big hanging installations, or you've probably seen like what we're doing hopefully at some of our destination weddings this year, the chandeliers, like the hanging chandeliers across the tables.
Oh yeah
I think we had that at our reception, our Indian reception as well. So like those kind of extra level of detail and logistics can also be provided by a bigger decor company that also do the production side of things as well. So I guess it just comes down to what exactly you want. If you just wanted some nice florals and some styling, then that would be pretty straightforward. But if you wanted something bigger, to be sometimes bespoke, like made for you or for your event, then I think the bigger companies would be able to achieve that.
Okay. But how do you make your wedding stand out? Like, what sort of things can you do to make it different? Is it just a combination of all these different things that you've mentioned?
Yeah, I think again it goes back to what we talked about in one of our original conversations. I think you have to work out your priorities. Like if decor isn't your priority, and we talked about your non-negotiables and stuff, like if for you food, drink, music is higher up, then don't feel obliged to have to go all out on decor. Like you have to stay within budget. However, like for us, I'm such a detail orientated person, and like I love the whole decor side of things, and I loved working with our decor team both for our London wedding and abroad wedding, so that was quite high up for me. But I think in terms of making it stand out, I think it's difficult because again it depends on all the factors we talked about, like what you're wearing and what the overall theme for your wedding is. I actually think obviously the color scheme is important, but I actually think it's the littler details that will make it stand out, because everyone for the most part is going to have something along their aisle, something in the backdrop of where they're doing their vows or having their main ceremony, and then have some table centerpieces. That is like standard wedding decor. But actually it can be the combination of colors that you've got. I actually really like, a lot of people play it safe with either all white, which I love, it's very classic, or with a white and green, or with pastels. But I actually really like when people do pops of colours, and we've seen a lot more this year where they've got the bright pinks, bright oranges, and mixing them together. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Wait till I ask you what your favourite colour combination is. But yeah, like, so I feel like that in itself is different, because I think everyone kind of goes for the norm. I also really like, I've seen a few, not any of our couples that have done it, but I've seen on like social media, the blue theme I think is really nice, like a powder blue, like baby blue. Like I think that's really pretty, like the bridesmaid dresses, and then like the florals with the whites. I think that looks really stunning for like a civil. So I think having pops of colour, I think a lot of people sometimes are afraid of it, so I think adding that in. And then I think the other part is just the personalization and the details that you can add through, like I said, tablecloths, napkins, even just lots of candles, and then stationery, like what kind of welcome sign that you have, the seating plan.
I thought the stationery was done by a different company.
Yeah, it
Decor
can be.
companies also do stationery as well.
They can do. So there's a big decor company that we're working with at the moment for our wedding at the Langham next month, and they're basically doing everything for us. So they're doing all the fresh florals, the linens, the napkins, and the stationery, just to make sure it all aligns. And actually, ironically, that wedding is their colour scheme is like sunset theme, so actually similar to what I just said, so like yellows, pinks, oranges, so really bright.
That's different. Yeah,
which is different, and it goes with the whole summer theme. And you know, maybe we can talk about summer weddings and stuff in the next few episodes, but I think so I think try and think of a slightly different colour scheme depending on your outfit, and I think a lot of couples don't tend to do this, but like I said, tablecloths and napkins, and then I think the little details like stationery, I think, are the ways that you can do it, but it all has to align with your venue.
Very nice.
What's your favourite colour scheme?
Sage green and create white.
Are you saying that because we did that for our civil?
Yes.
Okay, what's your favourite colour scheme apart from our one?
Powder blue is very in recently.
Anything else?
No.
But it's true, because like a lot, and I think in a lot of our, actually, that being said, last year we had a lot of grooms that were really taking the lead with decor.
Yeah. Like
I remember one of our grooms like WhatsApped us and was like, guys, I can't pick between these three
oh yeah, I saw that.
Tablecloths, and it was like mocha, powder pink, and caramel or something. And I was like, oh my, I was really impressed. I was like, first of all, the fact that they were all actually very similar shades.
Like a Starbucks order.
Yeah, no, it does. Yeah, oh my god, it actually does. But no, I was just really impressed that like he had come up with these shades. He was really thinking about like what would work well with the room, and he was showing the centerpieces, and like the bride didn't have anything to say, and I was like, I love this. More grooms getting involved with this side of things.
Yeah, fair enough.
And then I thought back to asking you if you remembered any of our colours of our linens, but
I told you it was cream.
No, but what about our Indian wedding reception?
Purple.
Yeah, I think you're right. Well done.
Thank you.
So I think some like general key things to also think about is when you're doing decor, also remember like lighting. I know that we'll talk about production and lighting in a different episode, but lighting can definitely enhance your room and the overall
and also
look.
If you have quite bare decor, lighting can really make it look like there's more than there actually is.
Yeah, 100%.
But that's something that you need to speak to with your AV team or your production team if your decor team aren't providing that.
Yeah, agree, because like you said, like lighting can change how the whole room looks. So don't worry if you feel like your decor's a bit bare, or you know you're not sure how it's going to all come together on the day, because when things have dimmed down and you've got uplighters around the room or spotlights, like I think it makes a massive difference. So I think just bear that in mind. So I think another thing to think about is, and again we touched on this in the venue episode, but just bear in mind restrictions from your venue. There's no point you going to town on this amazing mood board only to find out that you're not allowed real candles, because a lot of venues don't allow real flames. So making sure you've checked that, making sure if you're hanging anything up, like again, are you allowed to do that? Where would the placement be? Are you allowed to put anything on the walls, even if it's just like to be able to attach florals onto? Like all of these things need to be checked with the venue beforehand. So I think once you've started to get a better idea of your decor, it's always good to check in with your venue and just double check that it works with them logistically. A lot of venues, what they do is they will, before the event starts, take your event like planner, so normally it's one of us that will go, or if you don't have one, maybe the bride or groom or a family member, and they will go around the venue and they will kind of reiterate any scratches or scuffs or marks or anything that's around there, because then they check again at the end of the night. If there's been any changes, then you're obviously liable to that.
Yeah.
So any decor that can cause any damages, then that's, you need to also be aware of that as
But
well.
they'll have liability insurance for that, right? The decor companies.
Yeah, but sometimes it can fall onto the couple, which just depends what it is that's been damaged and stuff.
Yeah.
So I think it's just important that any big things you're putting there, you just get checked with the decor team. And also even things like florals, because at Q, with the venue team, because even at Q, for example, we weren't allowed certain types of flowers or something.
Because of the cross-pollination
Yeah,
or contamination with the local
exactly.
flowers. Yeah.
So it's just important to like check these things.
I think the other thing on that note actually is set down times and access times for suppliers.
Yeah.
Because you can plan like a really elaborate decor setup, but actually if all the suppliers need to be out by midnight and the event finishes at 11:30, if it took 5 hours to put up the decor, you're not going to be able to take it down in half an hour. And I think that's why it's also important to, and it's not a hard and fast rule, but probably try and pick a decor company that has worked at the venue before.
Yeah.
Because they'll understand not just what will suit the venue, but also what's practical and what can actually be done in that time frame.
Yeah.
Because it's all well and good, getting access at 5 a.m. But then if, they have to leave by midnight or 1 a.m. and it's taking them 4 hours to put up, they're never going to be able to take it all down in time.
Yeah, that's a really good point. For example, the wedding that we did last. Yeah,
I mean, that's because it happened 2 days ago and they had to factor that in with their decor. But it was amazing. Like, it was a cute barn theme.
Yeah.
With minimal decor, but with the right lighting and the right sort of stripped back florals. It looked really nice.
Yeah.
And they were also able to get everyone out in half an hour, 45 minutes.
Yeah. And even with that, the decor team were taking things down while the dance floor was still going on because of a tight 12 o'clock everyone out. So that's definitely a really good one. And that was another example of, there wasn't loads of decor, but because the barn had a lot going on with the like timber on the walls and the ceilings and the fairy lights, you actually didn't need a lot in there. It would have looked too much if you had over the top florals.
Yeah.
So that's another example of it. But yeah, that's a really good one, because any of these massive structures and massive productions, they need like hours to set up. And sometimes, if possible, they'll try and set up the night before if there's no wedding going on then. But yeah, if they're taking it down the same night, then you've just got to bear that in mind. I think another thing to bear in mind as well is just, and this applies to wedding planning in general, but particularly for decor, where on social media you see these amazing, like over the top, like big setups. I think it's just important to just stay to what you actually like, because I feel like it's really easy to be influenced by all of these things and then try and combine it together.
Yeah.
I feel like you need to, but I think you've just got to just stick to what you like. And that's why I think doing a mood board and just putting in the things that genuinely keep cropping up, that you keep resonating towards, will help you like figure out your vision in that sense as well.
That's a good point.
How do you think grooms can help brides with the decor side of things?
I think if the bride can narrow things down to two options, I think the groom is then a good person to make the final decision.
Okay. So basically,
I mean, they can also go on Pinterest, right? Like, I don't necessarily know. If you ask me what sort of decor I like, I wouldn't be able to tell you without looking at anything. But if you give me 5 different options, I would be able to tell you what decor I'm sort of leaning towards and for whatever reason I like. And I think based on that, you'd be able to, or the bride would be able to make a decision, and hopefully the groom would be able to have input into that.
Yeah, no, that's good.
I mean, this is very stereotypical, right? Like you said, like there might be a groom who makes all these decisions. I'm just saying, often in a couple, there's one person who has less of a say and cares a little bit less. But I think it is important to have some sort of a say.
Yeah.
Just so it feels like when the day comes, you both put it together. Yeah,
because the amount of weddings we go to and the groom walks in and they're like, this looks sick. I had no idea. Like, oh my God, well done. Like, he literally, it's the first like he'd seen of any of it, which is a nice surprise. But I think if you can get involved, it's also nice for the bride to get a second opinion, for the most part, if you want that opinion, that is. But I mean, it depends on the couple. I think then, to wrap it up, I would say once you've done the vision board, once you've reached out to decor companies and got quotes, depending on your budget, the last thing you should do, which most decor companies will do, will be to invite you in to have either a design session or to have a look at the florals. And that can be where you look at different floral combinations to check that you like how they go together.
Because they sometimes do a mock-up, don't they?
Yeah. So, for example, our one did for our civil, where they take you to their warehouse and they basically just show you like how it's going to roughly look, which is nice for
obviously
you to
not the
see.
entire setup,
No.
because that would be expensive and a waste.
Yeah. But just like an example of a centerpiece and
Yeah.
an example of like how one of the arches might look, which can be really helpful for you to visualize. Because I think a lot of our couples say that they can't visualize things. And I think if you're not that kind of way orientated, actually, it might be nice for you to go and see. So if you can have some sort of in-person meeting to finalize everything off and to see the florals and check that you're happy with it all, that's a good thing to do at the end as well. And then my final thing on decor would be to just have someone there on the day, ideally a coordinator, or just someone who can just make sure that it's kind of everything that you imagine it to be and it's come together in that way as well, just as like an extra pair of eyes, because the first time you're going to see it will be when you walk down the aisle, and you don't want to be like, oh no, I wanted that urn.
And also
on that
you don't want to
side.
be the person who's constantly checking up on the decor if you're the bride or groom and you're getting change and checking that everything's going to plan. Yeah,
exactly that. So yeah, hopefully that was a general helpful episode on decor.
Was helpful.
So I think we'll definitely do another one on like trends for this year and like summer wedding decor and things like that. But hopefully this was a good starting point if you are just at the start of your decor planning journey. So thanks guys, and we will see you next week.
Bye guys.
Thanks for listening.
Please like, follow, subscribe for more.